Will gargling with salt water or vinegar eliminate the coronavirus? Hey everyone, in this day of fake news and then on top of that, coronavirus, hey, it's not always easy to tell what's true out there when you're reading stuff online about coronavirus, but guess what? We've got you. Stay tuned. If this is the first time we're meeting, I'm Dr. Phil.
I'm Dr. Urs.
And we're the Love and Hip Docs. Yeah, today we're gonna get into how do you tell what's true versus not online. And if you are into all things family, faith, and fertility, we got you. Feel free to subscribe, like, or follow. And why don't we get right into it?
Yes.
So every conversation you have these days comes back to coronavirus pretty much. And yesterday we had one of those conversations talking about what's going on, and there's so many angles you could take with coronavirus. Yesterday's rabbit hole was the abundance of misinformation and how do people get stuck believing in things that sound just like
True.
yeah.
How do you weed out what's fake and what's really true? And this is a real issue for us because there's such an abundance of social media outlets and ways that people just share information that we really felt that we had to talk about at least the ways we try to verify information before we share it with others, knowing that at this point we're probably gatekeepers of knowledge and information for our families, and we're the people who should at least try to make sure that our relatives, our loved ones, our friends are receiving at least verifiable information from us.
So what was it that really just got you heated? Tell us about what you were looking at, what you showed me, and why it got you so upset.
So I received a document as part of a WhatsApp group that I'm in, and it was talking about, one of these hot topics, like everybody wants to know, how do you prevent yourself from getting coronavirus? And so this was a document that was talking about the top 10 ways that you can, prevent yourself from getting coronavirus. And the things that really kind of tipped me off, and just made me so upset was that this was being shared in a group that has at least over 100 people. And you can imagine if all these people shared it with others, just how far it would go. And so the things that I read that just made me, SMH, were things like, you need to stand under the sun for 2 hours, avoid ice cream, gargle with hot water, things like that, make sure your mouth is moist. And I was like, none of these have been proven. None of these have been cited as any type of scientific or verifiable ways so far, of reducing your chances of coronavirus. There was nothing about social distancing. There was nothing about, washing your hands, cleaning, things like that. Like nothing concrete. And it just made me so upset that I had to share with Phil.
Yeah, you were pretty upset there and passionate. And we knew, we had to do something. What is that perfect storm that makes it possible for someone to think that this is true? Like, who is that perfect target?
Yeah.
What are those qualities in a person maybe that makes them more vulnerable? Who is this video, do you think, most for?
So I think the people who are most vulnerable, really, it's anyone who is getting this information who doesn't know or doesn't have someone to bounce this information off of. Anybody who receives it and doesn't have someone to share it with and say, do you think this is true? The person who is, these people who are creating these memes or documents or whatever it is, videos, they know there is an audience for them. And right now, the audience is pretty much the whole world. Everybody wants to know, how do I avoid getting coronavirus? So sharing a document like this is really just playing on people's fears. And that's what I think it really gets at is, in this day and age of everybody wanting to go viral, everybody wants, accounts trying to get likes, follows, things like that, reposts. People just unfortunately just create stuff and share stuff without really thinking about real repercussions. And so I think the people who are vulnerable to this type of information is anybody that it's really playing on a fear or a worry that they have, and which would be anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which would be everybody. And the people that this video is for is really anybody who is interested in learning how to separate, at least try to separate truth from, fiction or just hoax information, if you will.
All right, so let's get into it. So what would you recommend people do? What is that approach that people should take? They find some interesting information online or on social media, and they're like, man, okay, but I don't really know if I can trust this.
Yeah, so I would say the first thing to kind of tip you off, or at least put you on a skeptical side of, let me verify this information. The first thing is looking at the source. Where is it coming from? Social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp. Those, at least right now, off the top of my head, those are the sites that I would say just kind of be careful. Don't just take it at face value for what it's worth when you receive stuff from there, because unfortunately right now there's just so much misinformation circulating on those sites. So that's my first thing. And then when you actually receive it, it's reading through it. So what I've seen is, most times if it's a PDF or something that is being shared like a document, oftentimes it's full of grammatical errors. That thing tips me off. And then it will say things like, put together by UNICEF, or, taken from UNICEF press conference or something like that. But there's no logo. There's no UNICEF logo. Like, if UNICEF is actually putting this out as a shareable document, it will be on a letterhead, it will be on an official looking document, that type of stuff. If it doesn't look like that, if it says anything like shared as received, forward to everybody you know, all your loved ones, question it a little more. And then things like, my very next step would be, let me see if it says, this was off of UNICEF. My next step would be, go to UNICEF's website and see if I can find this information. Or like, I received something that said, recommendations from the WHO. I go to WHO's website and I can't find these things, right? So that's my second step, is wherever it says it's being pulled from, look on that website, or at the barest minimum, look to see if there's another reputable website or outlet that is carrying this information.
What do you consider reputable? Which sites out there?
Reputable meaning an outlet or a channel or news station that has journalists or independent, just investigators that can independently verify this
Shout
information.
Them out.
So CNN, MSNBC, BBC, your local news channels, they all have staff whose job it is to verify this information. So a lot of times, things won't be shared until the outlet or the media news channel can independently verify that this information is true. So for example, I received something talking about a newborn baby that got infected with coronavirus. And it didn't say that it was that it was kind of pulled from any news source. But my first instinct was, I just put into any search engine, newborn diagnosed with coronavirus, CNN, and I hit search. And if I can't find it because think about it, this is like a sensational topic. It's like, it just feels like this is just out of this world outrageous, like, oh my goodness. It makes sense that it would be like on the highlights, top 10, things being talked about on these news stations. And if it's not, just think about it, that, is this really true? So if you can't find it on any news channel, any media outlet that you trust, then I would say it's probably pointing you in the direction that it's not real. And then my final step, the third step that I personally take, is if I have not been able to, my first step things have tipped me off in the content, logo, grammatical errors, just a sensational type of topic. Number 2, I can't find it being carried or talked about on any reputable website or news outlets. And then I come to my third step, would be just take whatever title or hot content and just put it into like a Google search and end it with hoax or scam. And so one website that actually has proven to be very helpful in kind of dispelling these myths is actually called Snopes.
How do you spell that?
snopes.com. Yeah, so what they do is that they'll take the claim. So it would be like a claim, right? So I typed in this case, I typed in newborn diagnosed with coronavirus, hoax. That was my Google search. And what comes out, you know, like Snopes, this is an example. Snopes will tell you kind of, here's the claim. And here's where it seems to be kind of like circulating. So it's like a post circulating on Facebook or on WhatsApp. It's using an image that has previously been known to be used in these kind of hoaxes, and then it breaks it down. Why this is just not true, or that isn't scientifically possible, you know. And so it's proven to be a really good website. I'm sure there are others. This is just the one that I've seen pop up, you know, frequently for me.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, Dr. Urs, our resident expert in how to, you know, look through all the, just filter through all the stuff out there, hopefully to find fact in the midst of a lot of fake news out there. And the importance of this is, you know, people just end up making really bad decisions when they're given bad information, which can prove dangerous. So we hope that this is a great service to you guys. Please feel free to share and like and also subscribe. And please let us know, have you encountered any stuff online or on social media that was just blowing your mind, or even that, you know, honestly you were not sure about? Please tell us how you dealt with it. Any good resources, any good hacks that you've come across that you'd like to share as well, please feel free to comment on them in the comment section below. Well, thanks so much for joining us. We know that there's like tons of things out there you could be watching, listening to, and we're just grateful that you decide to hang with us for today. Please be safe. May God bless you, and we wish you a really just safe time out there. It's not easy.
Stay healthy.
Definitely
stay healthy, and God bless you all.
All right.
Bye.
Want to say bye-bye?
Did you want to say bye?
Let's say bye-bye.
Bye.
Whoa, let's say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. She said bye.
Aww. Oh. All right. Very good. Good job.